I wanted to just do a video about my Praktica. I've got an MTL5 here. I used to have an MTL5B back in the day when I was a teen. When I was 16, I think it was, I had a MTL5B. And I wanted to just go over why I think it's important for photographers to have manual cameras rather than ones with program mode, shutter priority, aperture priority. And it's not to do with how good it'll make you as a photographer, because people have natural talent. What it's to do with is it slows you down and makes you think about the composition, about the settings of the camera, rather than just going out and firing away with an auto wind. And I think that's what helped me as a photographer. And it's such a basic camera. It literally has manual focus. It has on the top, you can see that there, it has the shutter speed dial, and then you lift up the dial and then you can change, I don't even see that very well if it'll be in focus, but you can change the actual ISO rating. There's a small battery in the bottom, and it tells you there's a plus and a minus and a 0, and you've got to get the line in the 0 to make the exposure correct. So that's that. As I say, it's all completely manual, manual aperture as well, and I honestly think that it is a really, really good way of getting into photography inexpensively and still enjoying it. And I've seen a few people out in London with them, and I think they're just really, really nice cameras. They are not necessarily the sharpest of lenses, although they are really, really good, as you're going to see in the photographs I'm going to show you of taken with this Helios 58mm f2, and I used a Prinz Galaxy, and this Prinz Galaxy f2.8 135 lens as well, which you'll see in the video. And I go out and about and you'll see where I've been out taking the photographs. But it's taken about a month to get this video together because I've just been so tied up with other things. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and we'll go through the photographs with you at the end. So now we're going to try and load a film in so you can see what I'm doing. There's like a little, I don't know what the proper name for this is, but it's like a flywheel, and you drop your film in this side and it has to go underneath this little clip here and then tuck and meet the cogs here, and they can be an absolute pain in the bum to load. And I've got some Kodak, I think it's Ultramax 400. I bought it in London the other day, and it's quite hard to get hold of at the moment, but the company I got it from, I had quite a bit. So the idea is to put it across there, like so. Make sure you don't put your, and then that drops underneath, like so, he says. That's not incorrectly at all. So that is now. So that goes there, and that goes there. So try and put it a bit further. I'm actually making a pig zero of this, so I'll come back to it when it's, hold on. No, that's not loaded. So, let's stop it there. Okay, so I think I've got it set right to be loaded. So what I tend to do now is I tend to wind the spool back slightly. So if I take this back slightly, so it keeps, so the tension is actually on there like so. The reason being is when you close the back, if it comes loose, you'll notice that that's not moving. So the idea is that I now should be able to wind on. That's taken up the actual film. It seems to be loaded correctly. If I go like that, and if I close up now, when I wind through, it should actually, this should actually move. So let's give it a go. There you go. And you rode right through to the start. So we're ready to go out and take some photographs with these two wonderful lenses. So I'm just out and about, and I'm going to do some photographs with the Helios lens. I've taken a couple already. Seen this flower here. What I'm doing is I'm running the aperture at f8 and then changing the aperture. The problem is with the Praktica camera and the lens is it's really difficult to focus if you close down the aperture. So you do that first, and then you set up your actual exposure afterwards, which is quite difficult, which means you can move around when you're doing it. So I'm going to try and get a shot here of this flower and see how that comes up, and if it's worked, you'll see it now. Look at these amazing thistles. I mean, they're huge. I mean, I don't know how tall they are, but they just look incredible. Now, I'm probably gonna, I know there's some further around the corner which are lower, and I'm gonna go and try and grab some photographs of them, but I might put my 135 lens on now and try and pick out a shot of one of these as well, which would be really cool. I love these wildflower patches they build, or they grow in our parks. And what I try and do with this type of shot is there's one poppy in the center there, and I put my focus point on that and then try to blur the rest of the background, but I don't know how well it's going to work. We'll see what happens. So I've managed to take a couple of photographs, one of a sign, it's like a directional sign to like places in Bedford, but it's kind of more ornate than like your ordinary road sign, so I thought it looked quite good, and I took it, that was at 1,000 at f8, and then the second shot I did was 5.6, and that was like at the top of a tree, and then the premiere in the background. And I say I'm just testing this lens out to see if it's any good. I mean, I've only ever had poor results from it, but as I say, when I put it on the A7S, it was a bit different. It worked really well. So I'm just going to wander around and try and take a few more shots, and then we'll have a look at them later on. Okay, so the shot I want to take is over there on the other side of the river, and I've either got to go down there or right down there to cross over to go and take the shot, or swim, but I don't think I'll be swimming. I just think I'll walk over, because the actual there's some swans and geese on the waterfall, and they tend to hang out there. I've done a few shots, but I've not done one with this lens, and might be nice to try and get some drop focus, some nice bokeh backgrounds and that. So I managed to get some shots of the swans on the waterfall, and there was a lady sitting opposite with her, I don't know what camera it was, but it must have been about a 200mm L lens or something like that, photographing. And there's me with my Prinz Galaxy 135 2.8 lens, manual focus, everything manual, and I think she's going to get a bit better results than I did. But anyway, I managed to hopefully get some good shots of some swans. It was a case of focus, set, and wait for them to be in the right position. So I'm hoping I've got at least one good shot out of the ones I took. Anyway, you're going to see now, regardless of whether they were good or bad. So these are the photographs I took on the Praktica with the Kodak Ultramax, and the colours are great. It's nice and sharp, but it's sharp enough. Really pleased with it. Really pleased with a lot of the shots I got when I was doing this. There's a few that didn't work, a few that didn't come out, but I'll explain those as I go through. But you can see what's wrong with this, and I think that people need to get over the fact that clinical stuff. I mean, when I use my DSLRs, that, you know, everything is clinical. Film photography isn't about being clinical. This is perfect for, you know, what I see as film photography. And I think the next one, yeah, that one's focused well as well. So, and zoom right in, and you just see, look at the detail. And remember, this is Ultramax 400, so it's going to be quite grainy. This one, again, this one's out of focus, and this was it was me. I moved too much when I was actually taking the shot. So you can see that one's actually not that good at all. And remember when I was out earlier on in the video and I was saying I was going to take some photographs with the Prinz Galaxy f2.8? Well, this is one of the shots I got with that. So you can see it's actually not bad. So it's actually, I mean, it's not too bad. It's a bit washed out, but then again, you're doing a center weight reading TTL, and that's what I got. And this one, I think again, this is the Prinz Galaxy again. Yeah, because you can see the bokeh balls here. They aren't the same, and it doesn't swirl, whereas the Helios will swirl. So again, you can see it's really quite nice. And this is why I say to people, have a Praktica. They're cheap, they're fun to use, and it slows you down. And this one is with the Helios, and you can see it's softer, and it's, you know, the light, it doesn't like flaring at all. If there's any like light in the background or just off to one side in your shot where it's coming in from a direction, it's going to get really quite muddy, and which this one has, and the exposure looks quite soft as well. So that's the main issue with these lenses. And again, same shot. I took 2 shots of the same thing, same sort of problem. And I don't know if you remember me talking about this. I think I was focused on that poppy there, and this again is the Helios as well. And then I've done 2 shots, this one and this one. So this is the Prince Galaxy, and you can see on the right hand side it's getting really quite soft and spongy, as I call it. And if I go to the other one, this is the one with the Helios, and it's lovely and sharp. Really pleased with that shot. You know, what more could you ask for? And this is what I was saying about taking the top of the tree and the Premiere in, trying to do the soft out of focus background. It hasn't worked at all. It's very muddy. It's not a good bokeh, as it were, in the background at all. Very busy. And this one was with the Helios, and zoom in and you can see just how sharp it is. Don't forget, you've got to think about the fact it's Ultramax 400, and it's not like one of the professional films. You know, you're not going to get the color accuracy and as good a grain, but still, look how much that's come in and how good that is. Not very pleased with this one. Very cluttered. Don't know what I was doing. I was probably trying to focus on this one here. And these are the ones I took of the swans, and where there was a lady sat over on the far side taking the same pictures. And this would have been with the Prince Galaxy. And again, this was been the Prince Galaxy. I was looking down on it. Again, not very good. Quite poor, actually. Quite soft. That's the thing. They're difficult to focus. You have to take your time with these. And again, this again was with the Prince Galaxy. This one isn't as bad as the others. As you see when you go in, it's still quite soft. And another one. So I took 3 or 4, and again, this is quite difficult to do. So let's go. And the last few shots I took, I really like these 2 because this is obviously taking photographs of the water and the lily pads. And this one was obviously with the Helios, and then the next one was with the Prince Galaxy. But you can see, if I go in again, they're nice and sharp. They're great. You know, if you nail the focus in and get the aperture right, it's gonna make a really lovely shot. And again, this is the last 2 shots I took, and this was with the Prince Galaxy, the 135 lens, and the VKC I was talking about. I couldn't remember what the proper name was, but again, you can go in and see that actually isn't too bad for the type of lens you're using. And then when you look at the Helios, again, if I just zoom in a bit, you can see there. So what a great camera. What a great camera and lenses to play around with and stuff. So what else? I took that of some guys doing some kayaking down the river. But yeah, what a great fun couple of days I had out with the camera, just taking shots of different things and enjoying it for that, rather than trying to be expert and precise and stuff. Just enjoying the time as a photographer. Anyway, guys, I hope you really enjoyed that video, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.